Welcome, survivors, seekers, and thrivers. I'm your host, Shari Leigh Roberts, psychic medium, energy healer, and living proof that you can transform your pain into power. Each episode, we dive into trauma healing, developing your intuitive gifts, and reclaiming your life. Get ready for real stories, deep wisdom, and a little laughter along the way.
Hello, and welcome to season 2 of my podcast. I thought it only fitting to once again have Susan Winchester here. My first guest when my podcast launch. Today, rather than reliving all of her trauma, we are talking about her living authentically, joyfully after all of that. And this is what the new season is all about. Talking with people who have done the healing work and are living the magic on the other side. Now, as Susan and I and others have said, their journey from hell to magic is not easy, nor is it for the faint of heart. Susan, welcome back. Thank you again for dropping in to share all the amazing things you're doing and have done since we last spoke.
Well, Shari, it's such a pleasure to be back on your podcast. You're doing such important work and bringing this message to the world. I'm in awe of I can't even imagine running a podcast. So thank you for doing it and for giving me this opportunity to share a bit about the journey and, more importantly, the results. And the journey continues, right? We're never healed. It's like peeling layers of an onion. You think you're doing really well, and then all of a sudden you have an incident. But it does definitely result in a different quality of life. And so since we last talked, I think I had just retired from corporate, if I'm not mistaken. It wasn't long after that. And so I've had the chance over the last almost 2 years. It'll be 2 years in March since I finished my long corporate career and started my own practice. And I almost feel like I have such a blessed life. It's almost not it's almost not imaginable. I mean, I just can't even believe it.
Well, stop. It is imaginable and deserving. It is what happens when we are aligned with our soul's
Yeah.
purpose.
Yeah.
And you are. So I listen to our first conversation, took a ton of notes, but the one I want to talk about now is you were reading a book at that time titled, correct me if I'm wrong. The monk that sold his Ferrari, and that connected with me then, but more now. Can you tell us what drew you to that book or book series? Who authored it? And what you took from it?
Well, those are great questions. And I've read so many books or listened to so many books since then. I hope I can do justice to the book. What resonated for me in the book, it's really a fable. It's just a story, but it resonated because it was about a high achieving, driven leader who was living a life of overworking, eating too much, drinking too much, not sleeping enough. And one day he was a lawyer. One day he was in court and he collapsed. He had a massive heart attack.
Wow.
And after that happened, obviously it was a wake-up call for the character in the book. But he set off on a journey to really find what matters and, what really matters. What had mattered to him before was all about making as much money as he could, impressing as many people as possible, winning as many court cases as possible. And he went on a journey in Asia and ended up finding this small group of monks that lived on a mountain. They were very difficult to reach. And he became a part of their community for quite a long time. I think it was over a year. And really started to understand what really matters. What matters is the connection with the people that you're in community with. What matters is living a life of, he was living a life of meditation and connecting with his soul purpose and, quiet walks in the mountains. And, the community didn't have like money or anything like that, but they supported one another through acts of service. Yeah. And it was just a very compelling book because, as you know, I spent, 36 and a half years in the corporate world believing that I wasn't good enough, constantly feeling like I needed to prove myself, beating myself up constantly for doing something or not doing something, and really in a constant state of hypervigilance, always waiting for something to go wrong, always waiting to get blamed and to get into trouble. And I think that book resonated so much for me because I was unaware, just like the character in the book was unaware of what was driving him. And for me, I was being driven by a need for approval, a need for acceptance, believing that somehow it was everybody else's job to give that to me. And I was completely unaware, unconscious to understanding how much my own past, my childhood, influenced every single thing I was dealing with at work. My beliefs about myself, you're not good enough. My beliefs about other people, especially people in authority, especially angry men in
Yeah.
authority.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And result, the survival patterns I learned when I was little, living with a father who did the best he could and had his own demons and was just an unpredictably angry, raging man. So it was a scary environment growing up in it. And as a result, what I took away from it and the behaviors that I had adapted to create some predictability and stability in my childhood were all about people pleasing, perfectionism, workaholism. But unfortunately, as you know, and just like the character in that book, that's very dysfunctional. That's a very dysfunctional path of suffering when we don't know how to regulate our nervous system.
Yeah.
I regulated my nervous system with Chardonnay.
Yeah.
Not proud of that. I'm very happy to be sober. It'll be 22 years in April.
Wow.
I know, but there's so many of
Nice.
us that are trying to figure out how to regulate the anxiety, the fear, the worry, the
Yeah.
stress. It's all fueled by our experiences of when we were little. And so for me, I didn't have a major wake up call, but transferring out of the corporate world after so many years with amazingly great companies, amazing leaders, many lessons for me personally and professionally, I stepped into a whole new world of what do I really want to do with my life. And as you know, the book I wrote with Martha Finney, we published that in the early 2020s. It was 2021. It was all during COVID, which was all a bit of a blur.
Yeah.
And that book was really
Yeah.
the culmination of my own experiences related to understanding how to connect our past, our unconscious past to our conscious present and start showing up very differently. And I think that's why I love the book so much. The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari, and I can't remember the author. I'm sorry, I don't remember who wrote it. But that it was like a great parallel for my life of, okay, I now get to shape my life. I get to design my life, to your point, according to my soul's vision. And it's been a wonderful evolution to experience. The work's never done. There's always, I'm a human. I get triggered still, but I have much more capability to navigate that emotion and to quickly come out of that triggered, activated state. But anyway, yeah, that I'm rambling. I feel like I'm rambling here. And it's funny.
No.
One of my
Yeah.
German just came in. She's like, "What are you talking about?"
No, I guess
I don't know if you can see her little nose, but anyway, yeah,
no.
that book was
Okay.
directed.
Awesome. Well, I'll let you now share what you began doing after the heaviness of your past kind of subsided. What did you begin to do, and how did it feel?
So almost 2 years ago in middle March is when I officially retired from my corporate assignment, which was wonderful. I was working with a great company in Silicon Valley, super complex, amazing people, so many lessons personally, professionally. during my 5.5 years there. And as you know, I spent, almost 37 years in corporate HR with great companies. So I've been very blessed by an amazing career. And what you might remember when we talked before, but what most people don't know is that 30 of my 36 years was all my success was fueled by my belief that I wasn't good enough. And as a result of that, that left me feeling anxious and nervous and worried constantly and in a constant state of hypervigilance. And when I made the decision to retire is not really the right word for me. It's more of a shift in focus rather than a retirement. I feel two of my recent friends who work full time said, "You're busier than we are."
Yeah.
But the difference is I get to do what I want to do with people I love working with. And so it was a big change. And initially, I was still in that mode of, I got to race everywhere. I got to rush here. I got to go there. I got to hurry up. I can't stop for a break. And, the intensity of the work world, I think in most companies is that, you are on from the minute you wake up to the minute you go to bed, which is often late. You're often working on weekends, and it's an exhausting experience, but it's become a bit of a norm in the work world that we know. Yeah. And so when I moved out of that environment into my own world, I recognized that it was a major opportunity to design my life in a way that gives me joy, a sense of purpose, and the ability to be in service. And one of my first things I noticed was just realizing that I was breathing and slowing down, even just running errands. And my amazing coach, Celine DaCosta, really challenged me to redefine my relationship with time. And, prior to the work I did with her, I thought of time almost like a prison. Like, I can never get out. I'm just always rushing to the next thing. And now is an opportunity to sit back and really design my life based on my soul purpose and taking all the lessons of all the years of healing, of so many years it took to write my first manuscript that eventually became my book, Healing at Work. And then taking that and being able to shape it into a solution for individuals as well as for companies. And the other thing that I remember that Celine helped me understand was, given this concept that, the book, the 4,000 Weeks book by Oliver Burkeman, in which he says, if you're from the time you're born to if you live to 80, you only have 4,000 weeks of your life. And I'm now 62 years old, so I certainly don't have 4,000 weeks, but it puts a total different focus on how am I going to spend my time. In fact, even my to-do list every day is a big highlighted note to myself that says 4,000 weeks, which really helps me focus on where do I want to spend my time and energy. And I'm just finishing a book by Peter Bregman called Lead with Emotional Courage. And in it, he talks about that we really have an opportunity to look at how we spend our energy, because how we spend our energy determines who we become. And to really look thoughtfully about where are your energy leaks. But what I did initially when I stepped out of corporate was I basically recreated a very busy schedule. Like I had all these meetings on my calendar and I was going to do this. And with Celine's help in 4,000 Weeks, she helped me really think about the time that you have, however much time that is left on this planet, focus on time through the lens of creating memories and moments. Oh. And that I love that because that like front of my mind all the time is, for example, 2 weeks ago, I took my sons and my son's fiance to a live production of A Christmas Carol in Milwaukee. And we had a wonderful steak dinner beforehand. And then we went to this amazing production of The Christmas Carol. And it's a memory and a moment with my beloved sons and my son's partner, James, who's now going to be part of our family, to just be there in the moment and remember precious connection with the people that matter most to me. And so, I think the biggest part of the healing work, which is, of course, a continued journey, As we do more work, we have to do more work. But it's this ability to be aware and be able to manage the triggered states more quickly, to come into relationship, a healthy relationship with our nervous system. And it's just continued work. The work continues.
Yes, it does. And it is obvious in your story about your night out with your family that you're realizing that being in the moment, loving the people around you, giving them your love and attention is where it's at definitely for people our age. I literally had tingling all over hearing you tell that story.
Thank you.
Okay. You and I communicated recently, and this, I think, is an extension of what you just shared. You said to me, I have made a choice to travel less and to be home. Now, before you tell us why, I want to say Susan is in high demand. She is an incredible speaker. People want her always, everywhere. Additionally, her coaching is also in high demand. It comes to the point where all of us, or her and others in that position, need to stop and say, at this juncture in my life, do I want to be out there helping others, or do I need to help myself and family? Is God telling me it's time to be and enjoy all you've done and created?
Thank you. Like I said when we started the talk, I just feel very blessed. I have the privilege of working with clients that I just adore working with. It was one of the things that I asked from God when I decided how to set up my business model. I just really want to work with people I enjoy. And, the opportunity to help other people through this journey of life, especially the workplace journey, it's just, it's joyful for me. In fact, that's where I spend that's my time and energy. My passion is working with individuals, companies, universities to help people experience less pain and more joy. And I think I must have shared this on our first podcast because it's so important to me. But years ago, I was doing some leadership work, and part of the work was defining our life purpose. And what I realized in that exercise, which was hard, but my life purpose is simple. It's to teach self-acceptance to create a more joyful life. And to have the honor and privilege of working with people who want to have more joy in their life, who want less pain and suffering. It's just, talk about magic. I just feel like God has placed me exactly where I need to be, given me all the experiences, good and bad, through my life that now enable me to support other people on this professional journey that is, as you know, it's a hero's journey. It's a challenging, obstacle-filled journey. And if I can help, so I was so blessed with my coaches, Tony. There's no doubt that I would not have been able to be as capable as I would have liked to have been. So it's just a gift to give back.
But at what point do you turn the focus onto yourself and nurturing yourself, your marriage, your life, your inner joy, just being you?
Yeah. So again, I'm very blessed because I don't have to work full time. But when I think about nurturing myself and my marriage and my relationship with my animals and my sons, it's so much fun to be able to spend so much time doing the things that I love. And anybody who knows me knows horses are my love. I've been on a horse since I was 4 years old. And I generally ride 4 to 5 times a week now. I carve out my schedule so I have certain dates when I know I'm going to be riding. And I have more than one horse, so I'm usually on a couple of horses at a time and competing a lot more. I love competing, not because I like to compete, but because I love my horse community, all my friends, both from my stable as well as all the other stables. We all see each other at the shows. We get to know each other. You get to know the other trainers. It's just a wonderful environment. So that sense of community and connection and my love of horses, I spend a lot of time doing it. And I'm very grateful and joyful to be able to do that. And then nurturing myself, another way to nurture is really spending a lot more time with strength training. And, I'm an individual who grew up in the generation that, women having muscles wasn't, it's just something we didn't do. Aerobics aerobics. But now I'm committed twice a week strength training. I have 2 different trainers that I work with. And it's really hard because it's super heavy and slow motion, but I know I'm getting stronger. I'm working on continuing to maintain bone density so that we have a good, healthy body to get us through this journey. So that's a priority. I get up and do cardio, usually 4 times a week. And that's part of taking care of myself. I have regular massages. Again, I'm very blessed. I just had a 90-minute massage on Tuesday. Gift cards for massage. And then planning fun things. I have a big trip coming up in November with a friend. We're going to Africa and Botswana. A trip of a lifetime. We'll be gone for quite a while. And so it's just planning intentional things that are important to me. my husband and I have our standard date night. We have date night every Saturday night at a local restaurant, and we never miss date night. And just spending a lot of time together. And I don't know what more I can say. It's just doing things that matter to me, that create those memories and moments that Celine taught me to really look for. And then, with my dogs, I've got 2 German Shepherd dogs that are not very old. They're about 2. They'll be 2 in April. And spending time with them, outdoors in nature, playing with them, I just feel like I have this beautiful, joyful life. Are there problems? Absolutely. Are there issues that have to be sorted out? Of course, I'm human. And I think one of the most important things in terms of maintaining that place of agency and accountability is knowing that when I get upset, when something upsets me, and things upset me, I work with complex clients that are dealing with lots of complex issues, that I know I have to go and feel my emotions. Because if I ignore those emotions, it's just going to make me go on a spiral down. So knowing how to manage the reaction to somebody, knowing that it's not them, it's me. It's something from my past that's getting fueled right now. And, spending time feeling the process and then releasing it. And as you know, there's lots of different techniques to do that. And I actually just came across a really interesting research point that I've shared with several of my clients because it made a big difference for me. There's a neuroscientist at Harvard named Dr. Jill Bolt Taylor. And she did some research. I need to go look up the research, but the research is she was studying how long does an emotion physiologically stay in your body. Mm-hmm. And what she discovered is it only stays in your body for 90 seconds. And so if you get angry, that actual anger in your body is only there for 90 seconds. And the whole point is that if you continue to feel angry or sad or alone or afraid or whatever the emotion is, if you go past 90 seconds, then she says you are generally unconsciously choosing to stay stuck in that emotion.
Oh.
Right? I know. That was like, whoa, that's a really big wake-up call.
Yeah.
Like, I can choose to stay in this miserable state of suffering, or I can feel the emotion, release it. There's, again, different practices to do that, and then I can go about my day. But isn't that interesting?
Well, I knew that, however, the way she said is what's new and really refreshing.
I agree.
I mean, I have experienced holding on to anger and joy. Euphoria, holding on, and regardless of what the emotion is, holding on results in the same thing. Absolute exhaustion. You're like tapped out. You're like, oh my God. And well, you held on to an emotion that, like you said, is meant to come in, be acknowledged, and let it go.
Yep.
What I love too about this, and I think you'll agree, when it is a joyful experience, even when we let it go, the imprint of that beautiful feeling remains. So the next time there is a situation that we may not have previously latched onto or recognized it as joyful. Now we see, feel the energy, and we are there. We gravitate to it. You know?
Yeah, I agree. That's really beautiful how you said that. I agree with that. We can hang on to it if it's a wonderfully positive emotion. We can
Yeah.
choose that. And if it's a suffering, painful feeling, we can acknowledge it, we can process it, and we can release it.
Yeah. Well, you said that. Unfortunately, we are almost out of time. So I will ask you again, what words of wisdom would you impart on people who just want to and are dedicated to reaching the magic land?
Words of wisdom. Well, I have to go back to my book. And as you know, my book is called Healing at Work, a guide to using career conflicts to overcome your past and build the future you deserve. And so my closing words of wisdom are that if you're feeling a lot of painful emotions related to your workplace experience, it's very normal. I spent so many years of my life in that place where we're judging other people, we're blaming our bosses, we're staying in a pattern of unconsciously staying stuck as a victim or a martyr, or a villain. All three of those show up. And that it doesn't have to be that way. In fact, workplace conflict, when we crash into somebody or someone crashes into us and we get upset, there are ways to unlearn the old responses that we learned when we were little. And that's exactly there is this whole world available to you that I wished somebody had told me about as I was starting my career. You don't have to experience the relationship that you have in the workplace, which is constant stress, constant worry, constant rumination throughout the evenings or weeks about what you did or didn't do. That can completely change. And actually, the workplace conflicts, those people that we crash into and that crash into us that we get upset about, are actually our greatest teachers. And there's lots of ways to learn that. Simple ways. Just look at what I've done on LinkedIn and my articles that I've written in partnership with my co-author. And, there are a lot of resources out there to help people on this journey. And I'm only a few steps ahead on the journey, having gone through the different path that I've been on. But with the insight of the work, as you and I were talking about before we started, if you want to do the work, and people aren't really sure what that means, it's really taking a look at yourself. You are the work. And I like to say each one of us is the CEO of us. And we have a responsibility and accountability to show up coming from a place of clarity, of freedom, of accountability, of responsibility, that everything happening in our lives is a direct opportunity to learn and grow and to continue this journey on a completely different path.
And like you said, we are our own CEOs, and that's personally, professionally, having also worked corporate and then going solo too. It doesn't matter where you are, what environment you're in. The lessons you need to learn will be there. It's your choice.
Right.
Are you going to continue to be a victim, or learn and grow from it? Susan, oh my goodness, I love you, and thank you for
I feel the same way.
Paying off my new second season. You're amazing.
Well, thank you. I think you're amazing. I wish I could see you because I give you a big hug of the work you're doing.
Oh, I know. And my book is launching in March.
Excellent.
If I end up in Wisconsin, I'm looking you up. I'd love to hug you and go out, have a coffee or tea. I love that tea. Yeah, that, and just to catch up. It'd be
wonderful.
awesome. Yeah.
Even if you're in Illinois or Chicago, I'll come and see you. That's not that far for me.
Awesome.
Thank you for listening. If today's conversation resonated with you and you're ready to explore your own healing journey or intuitive gifts, I'd love to work with you. I offer psychic medium readings, energy healing sessions, and intuitive development guidance at shariroberts.org. And if you're not quite ready for a session, but want to be a part of the conversation in a supportive community, join my private Facebook group. The link is in the show notes. You can also connect with me on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. This is Shari Leigh Roberts. Until next time, remember, you're never alone.